Welcome to Third Tuesday Conversation, the ELCA Youth Ministry Network's monthly podcast. Our goal is to engage in conversations affirming that youth ministry looks a million different ways in a million different places and with a million different experiences. Hey, everybody, my name is Veronica Brito, and I'm coming to you from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And who do I have here with me?
Jessica Noonan, coming to you from Katy, Texas.
And Alex LaChapelle, coming to you from the Upper Peninsula in Marquette, Michigan. I'm really excited, guys, because we have kind of been given an opportunity to walk alongside the ELCA Youth Ministry Network. We've talked to Todd Bugler. Yes, we said it, the Todd Bugler. And he has kind of asked us to help aid in the conversation about servant event trips, mission trips, and those conversations of what we do before them, during them, after them, so that accompaniment comes through in every aspect of the trip. Would you agree that that's kind of the ask that we have in front of us?
Yeah, it sounds right. Let's go with it.
All right, good.
Yes, definitely.
Big votes of confidence.
Woo, woo, woo.
And we've all done some form of mission trip, service trip, and we know that planning them, doing them, and coming back from them, it's an amazing thing. But sometimes we do get stuck on that mountaintop, and we've maybe even worked at camps or worked in situations like that where we brought groups in to work alongside communities, and we pray that they go home knowing that this isn't the start or the end. It's just part of the lifestyle of living into the cross. And so I'm excited that today we get to talk to somebody who does this day in, day out, and does it at, dare I say, one of the greatest camps in all the world. We have Meggie Cross with us from Idaho Servant Adventures, and I think that's also kind of conglomerated with Luther Haven Ministries. Is that correct, Meggie?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And so you work at a camp that I worked at when I was 18. I'm not 18 anymore, but it definitely built up my base of who I am and how I pastor and how I live. And so we're just excited to have you here to kind of talk a little bit about ministry, but especially those servant adventures that you're a part of, that you lead, that you put together for our people to come from all over to experience the place that is Idaho, but more than that, to experience the people of that area and the ministry of that area. But then they have to go home. So my first question is just pretty simple. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the experience of what you do day in, day out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name's Meggie. I started coming, I actually got introduced to Luther Haven Ministries, this ministry, through going to Idaho Servant Adventures as a high schooler. My church sent our youth group up, and I fell in love with it. I kept going back. Any trip we went up there, I signed up. And it was it sold me. This place sold me on, I want to work in outdoor ministry. I love this program. I love what we're doing. And so my first year of college, that first summer, I came back and worked. And I never left. I started as an intern after college, after I graduated college. And then I moved into a full-time year-round position here as the Shoshone program coordinator in 2023. And this is my second full summer, leading Idaho Servant Adventures, but kind of my 8th year here at camp, or experiencing this camp in some sort of way.
So give us a little pitch. If I signed up and I show up at your door, what is a week like at camp? What's the highs and what's the busyness of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we call Idaho Servant Adventures, we like to promote it as simple, significant service. So these youth groups, big and small, they come out from anywhere. We've had people from all over America come out, and we go out in the community beforehand, and we set up servant sites that these high schoolers can do. So we go out and talk to homeowners, and we set up projects. Those projects could be anywhere from splitting firewood, stacking firewood, painting a porch, painting a house, yard work, weeding. We've built a porch before, all sorts of things. and just kind of what this community needs. We are in the Silver Valley, so North Idaho in the Silver Valley, and that is one of the poorest counties in Idaho, right up next to one of the richest counties, Kootenai County, Coeur d'Alene, that area. And so these people, they just need they have a lot of health issues. That's an older community, lots of Alice households. And so we get to go out and get to be like, hey, we have a group of high schoolers coming out and they are excited and ready to serve you. Like, how can we serve you? And so these youth groups, they come out. Sunday, we do a whole spiel. We throw lots of information at them. And then Monday through Thursday, they're out serving from like 9:30 a.m. to about 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They are interacting with that homeowner. They're getting work done. They are interacting with people they've never met before. Because if you get multiple churches coming, we mix up those service teams, and you get to talk and connect with other people in that same faith journey as you, and it's really great. And then after that, they get to come back and have the fun of camp, zip line, rock wall, jice, all the things. And it's just a really great time. We send in a speaker each week to run our Bible encounter, and it's just really great.
I'm curious, how do you prepare groups to come for that experience? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we would most groups kind of start reaching out to us anywhere from the fall before up until that spring, depending on if we had spots open. And it's just a simple email, like give me more information, or I'd love to get us on the books. And that's when I come in and we kind of plan around what dates are you looking at. We do a Sunday through Friday in the summertime. And so we talk about dates. They put down, these groups would put down a deposit, and then you're kind of set to go then. Any questions you have, you feel free to call or email, and we get back to you within about 24 hours. And that's kind of the pre-setup of getting your group on the books. And then from there, we talk more about kind of getting more to know your group. What kind of experience does your group have? Adult leaders, what are the cars you're bringing? Because we do rely on their transportation. We do a pre-event connections sheet. So at their youth group, or their Sunday morning, Sunday school, however this church kind of collects their high schoolers, they get to kind of prepare themselves, get their heads in the space of servant leadership. And yeah, that's kind of, and then a lot of communication back and forth with the leader who is setting up this event, just any questions they have. All the logistics, all that sort of thing. Payment, registration, that stuff.
So when they go through that connection sheet, that's is that information that like prepares them for what they're going to be doing and what they might expect, kind of setting expectations?
To a point, we don't go out and say, "Hey, you're going to be doing this," because we actually don't know what these groups, what person will be serving in what way, because we mix them up, jumble them up. It's more of like, kind of like just a Bible study that these leaders. It's just a resource for them if they want to use it or if they don't. And it's just kind of getting their kids in the mind of what does like servant leadership look like, and how they will be doing that in a month or a few weeks or whatever it is. Yep.
Okay. So it's a centering on scripture to kind of prepare them
Yes.
for the experience.
How do you prep people for abilities? Like when high schoolers, you might think of like, oh, a big, strong football player, or you might think of like somebody who's really into music, or all these aspects of what high school is. And you go, okay, we all want you to come to Idaho Sermon Adventures. Now they go, oh, we're going to send you to build a porch. They go, like, I've never built a porch before. How do you walk alongside that so that it doesn't end with like, Hey, we built you a porch. Also, never go on your porch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, especially for special projects like that, we reach out beforehand, like, because we might know 3 weeks before that this group comes that, "Oh, no, we're building a porch this week," because that's the only time this homeowner can do it, and that's when we would immediately reach out to the adults, the churches that are coming that week and being like, "Hey, first, adults, do we have any construction experience? Do we have any this, that?" And then we ask, "Hey, like, what kiddos what high schoolers, what can they do?" We do have limitations on what kind of tools they can use just based on our insurance and everything. But we also have during registration, as each kid registers themselves, we have a series of questions where they ask, like, "I like that," or "I'm not comfortable with that," or "I don't wanna do that," of a series of, like, firewood ministries or, relational ministry, because you know that, um, Grandma Betty she's one that we've served every year for 10 years, and her big thing is she just loves that company, right? We do
Mm.
service, but a lot of that is talking to Grandma Betty, right? So we try and as we're doing the service teams, I call it draft day because we're taking this whole list of these high schoolers and we're looking through what they like, don't like, and we're matching them with those
Mhm.
projects they're doing.
I love that. I love that. So you're really thinking about, right, what are their gifts and passions and how does that match the need that's in front of us? Cool. I love it.
Now, you mentioned a connection sheet and you said it could be optional, which means some people do it and some people say, "Where are we going again?" Some of the leaders will show up the day of. What is this? What are we doing? So what is something that you would want leaders to do and, to prepare for the week? What is something you would want leaders to do, even if they don't look at the connection sheet? And then what is something you would want students to do to mentally prepare for the week? Of course, everybody is like, "Oh, I can't wait to get on the high ropes." You're like, "Well, wait a minute now. This is the service week." But you happen to also have fun as well. But what are some things, that you would say, I really wish that these adult leaders and the students would do this thing to prepare themselves for this
Mhm.
week? What would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for adult leaders, that could be their youth leader as well as the parents that are joining. I think just how to prepare them is just getting excited because these kids are reflecting what these adults are doing. Ultimately, leading up. I also would think just them communicating to us about, like, any special thing with their group or their kids beforehand, just so we can be prepared to make their week the best, that it possibly could. If there was, some sort of tragedy or some sort of thing that we didn't know going in, I think, because that's happened before, right? You have 5 different churches here, and one church is going through something that, like, another church is not, and it's how can we then kind of shift or move around that, right? Be flexible and also accommodating and inclusive and all the things. Um, I think another thing is for adults, um, is to prepare to also be hands off. Like we want these kids to. We have a aspect of this program is I keep saying servant leadership. We have a leadership side to this program. So each kid, so we have about 6 high schoolers on a team. They each get assigned a specific like leadership role for the week, and so that is they're in charge of the tools, they're in charge of making lunch for their entire team. They're in charge of um, leading Bible encounter during during lunchtime. They are in charge of um, being the liaison between the homeowner and the group. So like they're in charge of the directions, all the things, right? And we want those high schoolers to step into those leadership roles. And when you give them the space to do that, they thrive. It's incredible what these high schoolers can do when given some responsibility. And so that's a big thing we talk about with adults. That first day is just take a step back and let them lead and see what they can do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a great answer, because we as youth leaders always want to know how to best prepare. And like I said, some people will read the sheet and go word by word on it, but they won't embrace that they really need to allow the young people to be to come into their own leadership, and to stand back a little bit and let the youth figure it out. And that's something we talked about on a previous podcast, when we talked about churchwide, um, to allow youth to make decisions and then figure out what happens when you make the decision and what happens after, and then how to be resilient as far as that didn't work and we need to adjust, and to have the rest of the group help that person to overcome something. So I really do appreciate how you answered that. Um, then we were talking a little bit before we started about the accompaniment process. And I think, Jessica, you had a question about accompaniment and what does that process look like? But I forgot what that question was.
So Meggie, I am curious. One of the things you talked about when folks are on site and doing their projects is that you that having conversations, and for homeowners get to know the students and the students get to know the homeowners and have these conversations. Are there things that you tell them to prepare them, right? Because a lot of people will be nervous. They don't know people. And I'm sure the context of the community is probably really different from the groups coming in, because there's a lot of poverty, you said, in this particular area that you're serving. So what do you tell them? What kind of tools do you give them to help them have those conversations and just get over their nervousness?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Sunday night or our first night, we throw a lot of information at them, and that involves just kind of what each group is doing throughout the week. Our Sunday night, when our groups come, we do a whole spiel of just where they're going each day. So we try and have them go. Oh my
It's
gosh.
okay. Just keep going. We'll work with it.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
We go through where they're going each day. Group team 2, you guys are going to Grandma Betty's on Monday, and then you're going to Uncle Bill's on Tuesday, blah blah blah. And so we try and give them kind of like give them a variety of who they're serving, so they're not at the same place all week, and they're making more connections and learning more about the community and the people in that community. And with that, we also say any like special things that we learn, like myself, or like when Clint would go out and set up these projects of, hey, she actually just lost her husband this fall, and she's having a really tough time, and that's actually why you're going out, because her husband used to tend the garden and she just can't do that. So we are really upfront with them. We don't try and be gentle with them. We kind of just tell them how it is. And if there is any special thing, we always pull aside the adult leader and just let them know of any special circumstance. But they do learn some things about the homeowner. But then a lot of that we don't tell them their whole story because we love for them to find out, and for them to ask the questions, and for them to get to learn about it from their mouths.
Mm-hmm. That was always my favorite part in planning large service events with people going all different places. And we made a point of, when they got to a site, the person, and it, could have been at someone's home with an organization, a nonprofit. We would always have them tell their story when they got there so that the students who were, there to serve, got to know, right? Like, why does this matter? Why should you be at this site and doing this, and why this matters? Because sometimes they would show up somewhere and be like, really, this is what we're doing? And have an attitude about it. But then they hear the story, right? And when we tell our stories, that makes a big difference. And so I love that that's an important part of their time together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually incredible to hear, like when they come back and we do a debrief of the day, it's 9 times out of 10, they're talking about the homeowner. They're not talking
Yep.
about what service they did or
Yep.
how much wood they stacked. They're talking about this person like did this and we got to sit down and they made us homemade dessert and we got to bowl and talk about and then also it's really cool because these kids almost connect with each other more because they have this shared experience of, I don't know you, you're in Minnesota and I'm in Arizona, but we share this common Grandma Betty and her story, and it's incredible. Yeah.
Well, yeah, to understand that we may look similar, but, our experiences are different. And our worldview is different. So it's, I think, what a gift, right, to give the students and the homeowners, right, these experiences for relationships. Do you ever hear about relationships that go beyond their week at camp, like they stay connected with a family? Yeah, can you tell us one of those?
Well, one of the coolest things I saw, so we do part of service. So we will set aside some kids and they stay on site and they actually help us run our Silver Valley Day Camp. It's a free
Oh,
day camp
yeah.
that we provide, grant funded, because there's no childcare in the Silver Valley. So they're either at the pool or they're staying at home doing who knows what video games, staying inside, all the things. And so that's a really also cool aspect of Idaho Servant Adventures that we get to help out the community in that way. But this church, they had one of their adult leaders and probably like maybe 5 of their kids, I guess. They stayed on site and they helped us run this day camp 2 summers ago, 3 maybe now. And they fell in love with the kids and they went home and this adult leader, her mother or grandmother had a full like room full of quilting things that she was just going to throw away. And the kids made quilts and they sent them all to us to hand out to those day camp kids for the winter. And it was just so cool. You just get like you get like 4 boxes at a time of just full of quilts. And it was just really awesome, just the connections that they made, and those high schoolers just fell in love with the little kids, and it was really cool to be able to hand those out to those kids as well.
Yeah, and say, hey, you remember those counselors that were here?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, to wrap our time, if you can tell us a little bit about the return. So they have all these stories, they're locked and loaded. They're talking more about the people than about the service, which I think is huge in the conversation or accompaniment. How do you want them to go home? What do you want them to say? Obviously, part of you wants to say, hey, y'all should go to Idaho Servant Adventures. It's the best week of your life. But what do you want them to do in their churches, in their communities from the experience in Idaho?
Yeah. We do our like Friday spiel of goodbye, and with that we always say like, go out. You came all the way to Idaho to do this, to serve in your community. It's just as easy to do it in your own community, right? How can you serve? What are little ways that you can think to serve your community? And build connections. Like you might never like have, you can go out in your neighborhood and meet 5 different neighbors that need help, and you're then making those connections. You now have the tools, you know you can do it, you just did it. And you can go out and do that. And how can you do what you did here at Idaho Servant Adventures in North Idaho? How can you take that back home to Wisconsin or Minnesota or wherever you're coming from? That's always just like a challenge. Like we want them to do that. Like that's the challenge we send them off with. And with that, yeah, of course, we also say work at camp.
Yes, work at camp. All the great ones do.
Right.
Growing future leaders. With that, I wanted to ask one question about that, about growing future leaders. What is one thing that you have noticed or insight about the servant learning industry as a whole? Something you've seen since you've been there in your years that you've noticed is changing, either about the youth that come or the experience they want, or how is the industry shifting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big part you can always say technology, right? And like kids like dependability to their phones. And I think that's what makes this a week at camp so special. Specifically here, I don't know how other camps do it, but we say no phones, and just that the insane like increase of connection that they have is incredible. Yeah, and I think especially because I've been in a unique place to see it starting in 2021. So right in the like height of COVID, and I see that these youth groups, these churches, they are like these high school groups, they're at an incline. I think high schoolers and middle schoolers, all ages, they're like hungry for Jesus, and it's awesome to see. But one of my friends who he's a youth leader in Oregon, he was trying to bring a group out here to Idaho Servant Adventures, and he was saying, my I have the kids, I don't have the help. I don't have the adults. I don't have the chaperones. And that was, and I've seen that like, it's been incredible talking when I'm setting up these churches and I'm talking to these youth leaders and talking about adults and participants, and the amount of like, wait, how many adults do I need per kid? Like, I need to try and like, how many people do I need to recruit? And how many, like, we got to start getting these out. And I I don't know how it was. I know when I was a high schooler, we had lots of adults who were willing, but also that could be a huge change of just like adults and parents, and because you have such a unique experience at camp. And I don't think adults know that. And I think it's so important for these adults to come to be able to debrief what that week looked like
Mhm.
when they get back
Yep.
to their
Yeah.
home, because these parents, they don't like parents that didn't come or adults that didn't come, they have no idea what they did. But these adults that did, they have this unique experience. They know everything that they went through and what they learned and what they heard. And they are able to then debrief with them and talk about the goods and the bads, and
Mm.
what did you take away and how did you change from it. The servant event is great, but it's what you take away afterwards is what
Mhm.
we're looking for, right? You're only at camp for a week. We want your week of camp to then help propel your faith journey forward.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think, I mean, that's exactly it. And I think the opportunity that the camp has is to help equip those parents, right? Just like, what's the follow up, right? To say, hey, this is what your student did, while they were here, and here's some things you could ask them about, and here's a Bible story that y'all could read together and help equip them, right? Because they don't always know. I'm always surprised at what adults don't know, right? Like people that have gone to church their whole lives, and have never been in a Bible study before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like just things like that you just assume about people. And I didn't grow up going to church, so um, anyways, that's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great opportunity to think about what are the ways that you can send them with the tools and equip their parents, and other adult leaders in their congregations, right? Because maybe their parents aren't active in their lives. Cool. Well, we just love that you've been here with us. Thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
Woohoo.
the
Maggie.
amazing things that you're doing at camp through this service learning opportunity.
This is
Yeah,
good.
thanks so much for having me.
It's
Yeah.
been great having you, and again, good luck in the fall and obviously next summer. I know you're probably already taking names and numbers and getting ready. And if you don't know, Idaho Servant Adventures could be your summer mission trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we go, here are a few quick announcements and reminders. The Youth Ministry Network Extravaganza registration for January of 26 is now open. Meet me in St. Louis for speakers, workshops, and connecting with other adults who serve with children and youth. Head to elcaymnet.org to get registered. A reminder that as a Network Plus member, you have access to Martin's List. Martin's List is a resource sharing website, and right now it has 500 different resources that have all been created by children, youth, and family volunteers and professionals working in congregations just like yours. If you're looking for a retreat curriculum, a Bible study, an activity for the season of whatever's coming up, Reformation, Advent, or resources like this, go to martinslist.com. Log in and do a search. You're going to have to adapt it for your context, but, like everything else. And if you write or create something, be sure to share it on Martin's List as well. Others can benefit from the work you've done. Thanks. And if you're a fan of podcasts, Faith Listens is a new podcast that is fresh out of the gate. It's from the network's Formation Co-op. It's a limited series and is talking about the different things that the co-op is learning as it works with congregations on a new framework for ministry with young people. Search for Faith Listens wherever you get your podcasts, or go to elcaymnet.org/Faith Listens. Thanks to all of you who are members of the network. Your membership makes things like Third Tuesday Conversations, Oasis, Connect Journal, and Formation Co-op and Martin's List, and the Extravaganza, and much more possible. If you're not a member of the network, we encourage you to join. Our memberships are what make all of this possible, and we're grateful to be a community that cares for this ministry. Thanks so much for listening. New podcasts will be released on the third Tuesday of every month. Be sure to like and subscribe so you receive them as they come out, and share with your friends. And finally, thanks to Paul Amlin, the 3TC producer, for his work. All right, friends, saying goodbye till next time. This is Jessica.
This is Veronica.
And this is Alex. Have a great one.
Take care.